So we got one here from Golgot100, and obviously great timing on this one, which is hanging on your words. And this is personal hangers from 2013 to 2023. Now, based on everything that we heard, it still feels like this is all the same plan. Is you're going to have a certain hanger type based on what comes with your ship or something that you purchased. So I think it's all a thing that still exists. But let's check out what they actually said, and that's what's really great for Golgot. He is a historian and a legend, and like literally the best. There's no one better out there to cover what Star Citizen has said versus what's happening than Golgot100. He's done the best over the last year, and the guy's the man. So check out Golgot100. Check out, this is the link to the video, but get subscribed to him because he does not have the views he deserves at all. So let's check this out.
Have you heard of the hangar module? Yes, dude. Of course we're going to have player housing. There'll be, that's what it's going to be. The hangar is your housing in Star Citizen. And if you want multiple hangars, well, around the universe, that's fine too. You can park ships all over the place. It's up to you. You bet there's going to be player housing. Have you heard of the hangar module? Just kidding, bro. Yes is the answer to that question.
The game is 2 years out, but we're planning to release parts of the Ultimate game early. You'll even be able to invite some of your friends to your hangar. We'll probably have some of the customization options ready by then, so people can actually see all this stuff they've bought, which would be really cool.
The people that have pledged more or have bought bigger, better ships, they will actually get an upgraded hangar.
This is for my Aurora.
The people that have pledged more or bought bigger and better ships will get an upgraded hangar. Game is not pay to win.
And what if I had like more than one ship? So like if I have my Cutlass.
So this is a complete modular system that through engineering can automatically duplicate itself.
Yeah, that is the...
Oh, yeah. You guys remember that? And then the people who bought hundreds of ships, it duplicated itself until your computer exploded, and then they got rid of it.
Idea. We're building the finished component. We're building the game like in a matter of components. Like you start with the hangar module, then you go to the dogfighting, which you enter from the hangar module, and then maybe planet side you might have a door that opens.
How does a fancier hangar pay to win? It's not fancier, it's bigger and better, which means more space to carry things. So yes, imagine if you can have all your ships in one place, hold tons and tons of cargo, store hundreds of things.
Opens up and you get a visit with your friends.
I think maybe I'm throwing pay to win around a little bit loosely because that's not really winning, but the convenience stacked on convenience over and over again gets a little bit crazy.
Like in a bar kind of thing. So it's all going to be done kind of tinker toy together off the hangar module. Hangar being first thing until we get to Squadron 42 and the rest, which will be the bigger releases.
And in the first iteration of the hangar, we probably won't have every single ship. Like, for instance, we won't have the Idris Corvette and a few other things that you can have in the hangar and have access to in the first drop. Eventually, we will. We'll iteratively do it.
Eventually, we will have the Idris in the hangar. He should have stopped with eventually we would have the Idris. Because people purchased the Idris very early. Correct me if I'm wrong. Day one? That was part of the original Kickstarter, no? So, I mean, that is horrendous. I call BS. You don't have to call it, dude. This was 2013. It's the year 2023. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to add on to that and say that that's bullshit. Because everyone has eyes and ears. God, we were all so... Look at how happy this guy is. We're all so stupid.
pull over one of the other, actually the laser repeater, and I'll plug that in. And that'll completely switch out the actual weapon that's available. So it completely changes the effect, changes everything. So it's just demoing off exactly like what the weapons are going to be capable.
But are we going to have housing in the game? Is there going to be housing?
We are going to do something like that. We're going to do a hangar expansion system.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. We are currently working on a hangar expansion system, and so...
Currently working on.
You'll get a kind of a taste of that as we go through the next few months, where you'll have living quarters, and we'll be building out from the hangar on these things.
The idea that we wanted to add on like room extensions, hangar customization to the max to allow the players to really make this feel like their own home, like housing for their ship. That's essentially what that is. So I'm talking about specialty rooms specifically. So what you've seen so far is a shooting range and a course, I guess, a trick course.
All of this, like, I don't think Eric was making it up on the fly, because look at all this work that was happening. So here's the biggest problem with the people that communicate versus the people who actually make the decisions is all of this concept art was made with the intention of doing this stuff. So then the person who communicates it says what they're intending on doing because that's their job, and then they don't do the things, and then we're left out in the dry like always. So all of this stuff they intended on doing, but then what happened? They didn't want to make the hangars bigger. Then they started developing the game and realized that that wasn't going to work. But now we're like kind of coming full circle, and maybe we'll see here at the end with the most recent update around hangars of like what they actually intend to do with them, right? So there's a chance this stuff is still viable in a much more limited form, because they were taking this to their level of Star Citizen insanity of your hangar is going to expand and expand and expand endlessly to be like larger than the location that it is even at, which never made sense. So yeah, I think they started to realize that it never made sense in the first place. And I also think that the developers, as well as the people who were helping fund the game, us, the backers, were so high on everything that nobody realized how stupid the decisions they were making were. Nobody knew that none of this made any sense or none of this was going to work. Because I think everyone was just super high.
And whatnot. So when you go in your hangar, you will find some special spots. So basically attach point, just like with the ships, but for your hangar. And using the Mobi-Glass, you'll be able to access the hangar service. And in augmented reality, you'll be able to access that point, look for the rooms you want to have, buy it, install it, and then there's going to be a construction time. So
I do not remember this at all. But I wish that's what we had, is that you were limited in space and scope, and you would build your hangar the way you wanted it to look like. Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. And then we got 3 hangars that all look the same. Imagine how much more time they spend on concept art now. No, I think they spend way more time on it then than they do now, but yeah.
And the asteroid hangar will come if you own a Cutlass. So if you don't have one of those, you might want to think about getting it.
Oh, well, we're in the hangar. Let's go do something though.
He has to speed up the entry to the ship because it's so fucking slow. In 2014, the hangar would open into space. This did not happen in game until well over a year later, and there were no hangars. I think they were just landing pads, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna...
Also, I think the UI back then was better.
Go.
Delamar was the first, yeah. How long into the process was that?
The plan has always been to completely refactor them because we're moving away from a very sort of custom-sized hangar, which is what we used to have, to a much more modular system. And so for Arena Commander V0.9, when we release it, we're going to release completely new hangars for everyone. And so we're going to
okay, so this is why I don't remember anything. So I bought Star Citizen before 0.8. And then I built my first computer, and there was a problem with it. It wasn't working. I think I needed a new power supply. I needed to RMA something. And I built the computer specifically for Star Citizen and to stream it. And I put the game down. It took a really long time to go through the RMA process. And I didn't end up streaming the game because you know how any aspiring content creators out there, we've all done this, is like we wait till things are perfect before we make our first video or we make our first stream. Don't do that. Just post things and see how it goes, gather feedback, and go from there and gradually improve every day. But what I waited for was 0.9. And the reason I don't remember any of this stuff is because I wasn't really following the project that closely because I couldn't play it. And yeah, I didn't have a computer to even watch anything on. And I don't know if like YouTube on your phone was as accessible of a thing at the time.
Show
you know?
what the new hangars all look like here. They've all been redone with PBR. So in some ways, the hangar's still going to be the hub. We have some later stage stuff that will debut that will sort of remove the loading screens and make it sort of more seamless and streaming. Not just there. It's not just there yet, but it will be, in the not too distant future.
PBR was the first buzzword.
Walk out of my Revel and York hangar and find myself in a spaceport such as LSR, where I can then requisition a ship to fly. Yes, that is 100% our goal. For me, the goal is to get the game to the point which I'm very confident we can do this year, where we're not going.
2016 was the year. Holy shit. 2016 was insane. 2016 was so fucking crazy, dude. Holy shit. The lies of 2016 were absolutely insane. I don't know how much he was lying, who was lying to him, if he was filled with yes men, but 2016 was the most insane year of this game's history. And it literally put the stamp of scam all over this fucking game. And it's never lost that stamp because nobody ever forgot 2016.
Going to a hangar module, or we're not going to ArcCorp as a separate module. It's all just one that we go between these different locations all in the universe.
When they brought in the Revel in York, they started bringing in the room system that they had at the time. And the room system allowed you to expand to either side with multiple areas to put your ships.
Yep.
Again, more lounge area here where you can hang out with buds whenever they implement that feature.
What are the plans, if any, for our personal hangars? Obviously, hangars have been a part.
2018, and then we got another update in 2021 from the same guy.
Hangars have been a part of Star Citizen since the beginning, the very first version.
If you had, say a Revel in York hangar, well, that might be in Microtech, right? Because it's this big, fancy, high-tech thing. And then that would allow things like being able to invite your friends to your hangar and stuff like that. So it's, and you would, the plan is to still be able to do all the, flair or, placement of your stuff to personalize your hangar, just as it was before. So
yeah, the plan has always existed there. So that it's one thing that they haven't really gone away from is that the plan is to have a hangar that you can customize. But the difference is the amount of customization from those early days certainly has changed. But it's all about the plan. But CIG doesn't execute the plan. They just continuously tell us what the plan is without doing any of the execution on that thing. So it's like Jared gets these guys on, invites them on to talk about the plan that is not in any part scheduled to be executed. And it's the problem with the live content or the video content is the constant bringing people on to let you know the plan still exists, but they never execute the plan. And it's just like...
So if you'd got all the Endeavor modules, you're going to have this huge hangar. Because they're physical things, you might not have them on your ship all the time. You're going to open this hangar door, and there is all your Endeavor modules arranged in this big warehouse, just...
Look at Jared's face. Like I have no fucking words for that because that is not going to be a thing.
They're waiting.
So we could put the liquor cabinet. Well, let's put the liquor cabinet. Now we used
Dude, why is he using this Texas Space Navy guy?
to be able to drink from the liquor cabinet and it would get us drunk in here. You can't do that anymore, evidently. There was also a jukebox that you could put music in, actual music like MP3s, and play it here in the hangar. So that was really
but that's against copyright, I'm pretty
cool
sure.
feature they had. I wish we could still do that. You can see this mine actually finally came in here. Really cool. It's a space mine. You'll be able to see these pretty soon in the game, actually in a few months.
Okay, now I know why he put him on there. But I don't like that he brought a content creator on who doesn't work for the company. It makes it look a little weird.
You can see it was made by Aegis. Like for the Nautilus.
The hangar module is currently disabled while we examine needed fixes for issues with the module. There is currently no time frame for when it will return.
What is the difference between persistent hangars and the personal hangars that citizens are...
So this is the update. So this is the update from 2021 that is the closest to where we are now. And that's that. Captain Dabs, thank you so much. But since we're watching a video, I just turned it off for a sec.
The idea was, at least to my knowledge, was that these personal hangars were actually meant to be someplace that was in the game.
I will listen to it. I'll play it again.
Hangars were supposed to be on some place like Grimhex or wherever. These will be things that you can buy. They'll be yours. You can rent them, maybe. Things of that nature, right? It's taking that personal hangar and really just kind of transplanting that into the game and allowing the game to persist it in whatever state you leave it.
Oh yeah, this. And we haven't seen that at all. A year old.
We are removing future work for the following deliverable temporarily. Persistent hangars.
There's an early hangar flare. Modern day players may go, hangar? Flare? Way back when we had this hangar module you could load in and just kind of stare at your ships in.
Persistent hangars
and now it's just dead.
are
I mean, that just
kind
confirms it being dead, which is fine, I think.
An evolution of instant hangars. And really what it is it's our first step towards real player ownership in the game beyond ships.
The cool thing is that you'll be able to put your stuff in it, come back to it, and it's still gonna be there.
It's just whatever the player wants to keep inside their hangar, that's their home. They can just leave them lie around, they can arrange them however they want, be it weapons or cargo or dead corpses or whatever.
Very, very long term. I have no clue of any dates or anything, but you'll be able to customize it and upgrade it so it becomes bigger. You can have bigger ships in them. And maybe at some point even having them like at distant location, you could buy a second one. For now, it's gonna really be on your own location.
Okay, so what that tells you is that the plan remains the same, but we are still getting Star Citizened because I think Galgot left a little bit of context out there, which is unfortunate. I'll try to fill in the blanks. Is there appears to be steps to this process, and the steps are the idea of it'll be freight elevators and it'll be persistent hangars. not persistent hangars, but like they'll move you away. I forgot the name of it, but there's a step before persistence. Instance hangars, where we'll be in our own instance and we'll get shot away from the station in that hangar and not cause any performance issues for anybody. So, or ourselves. And that's first, and then they move into start making them persistent, and then they move into customizing it. So again, this is years away. We'll never see any of this stuff. So yeah.
Have you heard of the hangar module?
Okay. And that's where it ends. Yeah. So that's an interesting trip down memory lane. Some of it were memories that I didn't have and have learned some new things. It sounds like everything is still part of the plan, but the plans don't seem to mean anything with this game, right? So like a lot of things with Star Citizen is they set their plans out from many, many years ago. And as you see features come online, many of those plans that a lot of people didn't think would ever exist still exist, right? And some of those plans that have come into the game kind of have worked nearly to a T how they planned on doing them. So that's interesting, but there's a lot of things that haven't, which makes you go, well, it makes you feel like it's all BS. And yeah, but rest assured they're working on it. Exactly. They're working on it. They're always working on it. And then, but what has, for example, let's see, I think Death of a Spaceman sort of stuff we've seen. I think mining has come in almost nearly the same. I think maybe some stuff with salvage, and I guess you're kind of putting me on the spot here where now maybe I'm going to look pretty dumb and can't think of too much. I guess hull scraping, yeah, that's what I meant by salvage. The mining changed a lot from the initial design doc, not entirely. I think the only thing that really has changed is weak spots and the missile thing. But outside of that, it's been pretty darn close. Rock analysis is all there. Yeah, it's just been done a little bit differently. I don't know. I think that's been pretty close. But yeah, I guess I'm being put on the spot, so now I can't think of anything. But there's been a number of different things that have popped in my head that I was like, oh, okay. So they, set out to do that and they're still doing it. Cool. But there's about 1,000 things where that hasn't come true. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say that I believe anything that's being said here on the hangar module thing. As with everything, things have changed, and whether it's changed slightly or not is kind of problematic. I think the biggest thing with mining that didn't come true was the filter in the back of the prospector, right? And that's kind of made mining very different from what a lot of people expected. But in the end, it sounds like they're still on the same plan, but when that plan ends is what matters, and we're not allowed to ask when questions. So, why are we all here? What are we all here for? Just to consume this content from them and continue to buy spaceships, right? It's not. We're not here to enjoy a game. That's very, very clear at this point.